Hello, everybody. It's your boy, the Punk Otaku Scribe, and welcome to my show, Punk Reviews, where we look at anime, movies, and TV shows, both current and classic. And in this edition of Punk Reviews, we'll be looking at Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, directed by James Mangold and starring, of course, Harrison Ford. So before I get into Dial of Destiny too much, I should probably say how I feel about the older films. Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the best action-adventure films to have come out ever. Temple of Doom is my personal favorite. I really like the darker aspect of it. I like that it goes darker. You know, it's got a bit more horror elements to it. Last Crusade, also a really great adventure film. Sean Connery and Harrison Ford are really great together in it. They have great chemistry. And Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, while that's the one people tend to dislike, not really like that much, I do. I genuinely like it, and I've always openly liked it. But, you know, it is very corny, and it is the lesser of, the original trilogy, of course. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I feel, was a perfect indie send-off in terms of just how it ended. Maybe not in its story, but in terms of how it ended, where he marries Marion, finds out he has a son, and, walks out of that chapel married and happy. Put a pin in it. It's done. He's happy. Let Indy ride off into the sunset. But 8 years later, they announced, hey, we're making a fifth one, and I don't think I'm alone when I say I rolled my eyes and sighed, like, oh, really? They're doing this again. Okay, fine, whatever. What do you got? And it turned out it was directed by James Mangold, a director that I only found out recently I'm actually a fan of. I like a lot of his movies. Identity, a thriller I've liked for many years. I didn't know that he directed, or at least I keep forgetting every year that he did. 2017, he directed Logan. He also directed The Wolverine, which I like a little less, but it's not bad. So yeah, James Mangold, like him all the way. Let's see what he can do. Indiana Jones, James Mangold, can that work? Kinda. When the trailers dropped for this thing, I didn't think it looked very good. I thought it looked well made. I thought, the cinematography, the filmmaking of the movie looked good. I thought it looked well made, but I didn't think the movie itself looked very good. There was nothing in those trailers that really grabbed me. Like, it made me excited to see it. Nothing really grabbed me. I didn't think this was going to be a very good film. As I was going through my marathon, though, of Indiana Jones, I started getting more excited to see it because Indiana Jones just has this magic about it, where it just takes you along for a ride. Each movie, even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, each movie has this magic to it where you don't feel its runtime at all. They're genuinely exciting movies. And so, as I was going through my marathon, I got more and more excited for Dial of Destiny. I still had my reservations about it, but I actually got excited to see it, whereas before my marathon, I just wasn't excited to see it at all. And, I don't think James Mangold was the one with the vision for Indiana Jones. Like I said, the movie looks good, but his style just doesn't fit it. James Mangold is a director that no matter what the content of the movie is, he always brings just a grounded realism to it. And grounded realism isn't really something befitting of Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is something that should be grand in scale. It is a grand adventure franchise. You're going into these tombs and investigating these cults and finding these artifacts, and it all should just feel big and grand and mysterious at the same time. Where James Mangold will take a concept as fantastical as Wolverine, a superhero, and make him feel grounded and real. And you would think that something like that would fit for Indy, but it really doesn't. Watching this, as I was going through it, as I was watching it, I kept telling myself, the story of this movie is rather good, but the execution just isn't what it should be. This film is actually very frustrating, just like The Flash, because it has the same issue that movie did, where it has the potential to be really great, but what keeps it from being great is just a lot of problems that plague it. You know, with this one, with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, it's bogged down by some really weird narrative choices and some other issues that I'll get into in a spoilers video, but the one I will get into is the fact that he's a sad, lonely old man in this. They tore apart his happy ending from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull for seemingly no reason. Even when the movie played out and it ended, there didn't seem to be any purpose for it, especially with how the movie ends. But there was no reason to just tear apart his happy ending from the previous movie. If you wanted to make him a cranky old man, that is a natural progression for this character if you were to keep going up until this point, right? If he was going to be a cranky old man, fine. But make him an angry cranky old man, not a sad cranky old man. And that's what he is in this. And that's not what I wanted to see Indiana Jones go down. If you wanted to do this route, you could have kept him married and just have him be a cranky old husband with a sweet wife who, is in Marion and, she's positive and still really kick ass, but, she keeps him positive because she's the happier one of the two. You still could have done that. Instead, no, you gotta tear apart his happy ending because you gotta give him a conflict for an emotional pull. It was not very well done here in where we find Indy at the beginning of this movie. However, before we get to that point in Indy's life in this movie, we're actually treated to a sequence that takes place during the end of World War II, where you see that in the trailer, the de-aged Harrison Ford, and this whole sequence is amazing. It feels like a classic Indiana Jones film. If they had made a fourth film directly after Last Crusade, without the huge year gap, and they were still in the era of World War II, like say this movie came out in the 90s or something, right? This would have been the movie that they came out with, this opening sequence here. And it's very good, it's very exciting, and it sets up the whole movie as well. It's not just something that's tacked on in the beginning. It actually sets up the story of the film. It sets up the artifact, the villain, and the whole story, like I just mentioned. And the de-aging on this, on Harrison Ford, is incredible. But it has the same issue that any of these de-aging effects have whenever they're used in a movie. And it's that it looks really good until the subject of the de-aging starts talking. Whenever he started talking, you could see the rubbery effect going on whenever he opened his mouth. It looked kind of video game-ish, but when he's just standing there in the Indiana Jones getup and he's just staring, with that heroic glare, it looks incredible. It looks like Harrison Ford from the late 80s. It's really good. It's really well done. And ironically enough, even though, like I mentioned, James Mangold's style didn't quite fit Indiana Jones, his directing style really fit this. I don't know what it was. There was just something about this opening sequence that really drew me in, and it gets you really pumped up for the movie. So in every film, Indiana Jones has a companion, and in this one, that's no different. In this one, his companion is played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she's playing his goddaughter in this. Well, he technically has two companions, like he did in Temple of Doom, but the other companion we'll get to in a second. But when I saw Phoebe Waller-Bridge in the trailers, I didn't think I would like her very much. I didn't think she was very funny in the trailers, but seeing the movie, I actually didn't dislike her as much as I thought I would. In fact, I actually quite liked her. I thought her performance was fine. I thought she was perfectly funny. But the other companion, I wasn't that crazy about. So it's this kid, and with this kid, they're trying to do like another short round, but one problem is that he just does not have the charisma that Ke Kwan had in Temple of Doom. I would go as far as to say that I really hated this character. No, nothing against the kid. Just I thought the character just wasn't very exciting. He's very, very bland and kind of annoying in some scenes. And I'm sorry to say, he also just wasn't acted very well. It would have been one thing if the character was bland, but at least the kid had a great performance. But the performance also isn't very good. You could take this kid out of the movie, and it would take away nothing. And he adds nothing. I think if it was just Indy and Helena, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, it worked out just fine. In fact, that kid, now that I think about it, I don't think he's even in any of the marketing. I don't remember seeing a single shot of him in the trailers or anything like that. When I saw him, I was actually shocked when he actually stuck around. We also have a villain in this, just like any other Indiana Jones film, and the villain is played by Mads Mikkelsen in this, who is so good at playing a stoic, cold villain. He was born to play roles like this, I swear, because I thought he was really effective in this. Like, I found him kind of scary, actually, at times. But anytime I see him in something, he's playing someone that's stoic and cold, and man, he's got it down to a science. It was perfect. I will say, though, that the villain is bland in comparison to other indie villains that we've had before, even in comparison to Kate Blanchett's villain in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But I mean, the performance is fine. I just don't think that this was the ultimate final villain for Indy. You know, it just felt like a villain that we'd get before the next one, and there won't be a next one, so kind of frustrating. I do want to highlight one of his crew, though. He has 2-3 henchmen, one of which is played by Boyd Holbrook. Boyd Holbrook was a villain in Logan as well, and anytime Boyd Holbrook is in something, I get really happy about it because he is a scene chewer through and through. He has like this smarmy charisma to him that is just infectious, and I just like watching him play a cocky villain like this. You know, he's got the twangy accent to add to it too. I really liked this villain crew. You know, many people may disagree with me. I liked them, but like I said, as a final villain for Indy, could have been better. Okay, so the story is not well executed, but it's fine. The characters are hit and miss. But Punk, I come to Indiana Jones for the action. What is the action like? Is it any good? Yeah. It's okay. The action's pretty good. It's serviceable. It goes on a little too long, I think. The sequences, near the end of them, I started to kind of squirm a little bit, but they're not badly done. It's well filmed. Like I said, though, James Mangold's style doesn't really fit Indiana Jones action, I don't feel. While what was happening on screen was kind of engaging, I felt like the way it was filmed just didn't feel like any other Indiana Jones film. Steven Spielberg just had a style that really gave just a grandiosity. I don't know if that's a word, but it gave just this grandiose scope to the action and the overall story of an Indiana Jones film. And with James Mangold, he's giving like this, grounded grittiness to the action, which kind of works a little bit. It's exciting. It just wasn't what it's supposed to be. And like I said, it goes on a bit too long. The set pieces are okay, with the exception of one set piece that was underwater that it just wasn't very good because it was way too dark. Actually, with that being said, movie industry, PSA to the movie industry. Stop doing this. Stop making your color grading so dark. It's so tiring. I am so sick of having to take these scenes in a movie or TV show and bump up my brightness to 150 because I can't tell what the hell is going on. You're using blue and green screens for these action scenes. You're not limited to nighttime shots. You're not limited to the environment, the real environment. So I don't understand why so many movies and TV shows nowadays have to be so damn dark in some sequences. Just because it's underwater, you can play around with some color grading. You don't have to make it this damn dark. It doesn't make any sense. But other than that one action set piece, the rest of them are pretty good. Just near the end, you're probably going to squirm in your seat a little bit. Overall, your mileage may vary on this. It's technically a good movie, but it's an underwhelming experience when it's all put together at the end of the day. I don't really see anybody going into this and feeling like they got their money's worth if they pay full price. So if you're going to go out and see it, just, pay matinee is all I can say at best. and you may have a good time with that, but I don't think that this is the send-off that this character or Harrison Ford deserved. They deserved a lot more. Anyway, that's going to do it for me on this review. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and be sure to follow all of my socials down in the description. I've been the Punk Otaku Scribe, and I'll see you in the next one.